Buzz in the cabinet, so they don't like see him talk and say that because his back is to them or whatever. So I thought that kind of worked. If he was gonna have to say something like that to trigger Bonnie to remember a backpack, I thought that was the situation to do it in. So that was my favorite line and maybe my favorite moment of the movie.
There was a couple of really great lines, like how the unicorn was like, "We gotta get the dad arrested." Like, he just kept wanting to get the dad arrested. And that paid off
at the end when the cops show up.
And then at the end, they're like, "Let's get the dad arrested."
Canada! Like, that was one of the best lines, too.
Yeah, Keanu. What did you guys think of Keanu Reeves as a Canadian Evel Knievel here?
I thought it was great. It's nice to get Canada referenced into certain things. So there's no actual I Canada.
It's like, I love that he's like Boxing Day present, just completely Canada the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have Boxing Day in the States?
I mean, on my calendar it always says Boxing Day. I'm like, what is this? But
Boxing Day is the big sale day in Canada. It's like it's
the day after Christmas to me.
It is the day after Christmas, and they call it Boxing Day because it was the day that the returns would happen, but now it's a day that they have sales. So that's the day after Christmas, but
it's your Black Friday.
Anyways, yeah, and then now we started adopting your Black Friday in 2010, I think it was, or 2008 or something like that.
Sorry, guys, it's a terrible holiday.
I don't know. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on? Like, I'm sure there's tons. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Jamie?
I wanted to say about Buzz, I kind of, I don't know. I wasn't in love with Buzz's character this movie because I kind of felt like they were kind of bringing him back to the unaware Buzz, almost like a little bit. Maybe I want to say dumb, where he's like, "Oh, I got it. What's a conscience?" And it's kind of like this really like trying to figure out, and he's, keeps on touching his buttons. Like, I felt like they kind of played that off as like he's, unaware again, that he's a toy, kind of thing, or figuring out that he's a toy. Like, I don't know. I kind of felt like it set him back, but there was aspects that I liked of him too. So
that's the thing. That's what's tough about Buzz. That's why they do the things they do with him in like the second one and the third one. Like, oh, we're going to have another Buzz who's like, I'm a space ranger. I'm not a toy. And then the third one, they have the factory reset. And they keep trying to recapture that. Like Buzz Lightyear, he's like RoboCop, right? He like went through like this whole emotional journey in the first movie. And it's like, okay, well, now you can't go back to like the RoboCop you like in the first one. But the sequels do it anyway because that's the RoboCop we all want to see. So it's kind of like it hurts the story, but it gives you more of what you want. It's a tough tightrope to walk, but I liked Buzz in this one, but I absolutely do see what you're saying, where he does kind of like the oblivious, to certain like realities in this one, just for the sake of a joke.
Yeah.
But hey, I think Woody had a great story though. I think this really tracks with Woody's character, I think, and this was more about Woody. Because this really was a lot like, just plot-wise, like a beat for beat. If you look at it, it's a lot more like the first movie. Because, Woody and Buzz, you just switch out Buzz for Forky. And it's kind of more about, him and his place in the toy box, if you will. So,
yeah, I kind of felt like Bo was being a little selfish, though. Like when honestly he had to choose, I was like, Bo, like that's not cool, right? Because she talked about, even in the movie, how much she loved like how loyal he was to his kid and to his friends, his other toy friends. And that was kind of Woody's character. And then in the end, she just makes him choose when she had no, like, it's not like she had this ambition that she had to go travel with the carnival, like, and set other toys free. Like, she could have easily still gone with Bo instead of making him choose between really him, or Bo or his friends, right? So I kind of felt like Bo was being selfish, and maybe that was a part of Woody's progression as a character, that he needed to move on and to be a lost toy, I guess, since being lost from Andy. But I felt like it didn't really resonate. The only thing that brought it back was really what Buzz said, was like, no, he's not lost anymore. So that helped it, but it didn't, like, they were playing up his loyalty the whole time, and then he ditches his friends, for the girl. And Bo makes them.
Yeah, it's not a good look now that you mentioned about Bo Peep there. Because even at the beginning, even at the first scene of the movie, she's like, hey, toys go missing all the time. And he's like about to crawl in the box. And then you hear Andy like, Mom, I can't find Woody. Like, and I had to laugh because it's like, if I'm Andy's parents, I'm like, damn it, Andy, just keep track of your toys, because how many times are you running around, I can't find Buzz, I can't find Woody? Like, that should have been the counter I did for the Lions in these movies. How many times, he was right here, I can't find him. Like, I don't know, it was just, I had to laugh at that, because it took me back to the earlier two movies when he's running around looking for Woody. And then like, oh, good, Woody, I'm glad he's just laying here in the rain under this car. How did he get out here? I don't know, but yeah, he found him, so.
We just left him outside in the rain. Even though you brought him inside,
yeah.
he's out in the rain.
Well, we definitely saw like a more jagged Bo, and I think it kind of like affected Woody a little bit. Like she was like, no, I don't want to see another kid. I'm not going to be about a kid, right? And so, he kind of went with her because maybe she was a little jagged. And I like seeing her independence. And like, she's like, yeah, I'm this like strong, like, I'm not wearing my skirt anymore. I'm like doing flips and stuff. I'm kind of like Bo the Ninja now. Like I like that. But yeah, she was a little maybe bitter like Bo. And it affects Woody.
I think some people have a problem with that. They're like, well, that's not what Bo Peep's like in the first two movies. No, I think that she was enough of a blank slate, though. It's like, really, what was Bo Peep really like, people? I mean, she was like probably in the first two movies for a combined 10 minutes, if you really add up the screen time. And then a lot has happened to her. She's had a lot of life experiences. She's been away from these toys for like a decade. So I get where they're going for, like, hey, a new empowered Bo Peep, right? Yeah, but it works for me.
Yeah. Empowered, but maybe a little bit bitter. Well,
Well, no, yeah, and even in that one scene, like, where there are a couple scenes where she's kind of more introspective and Woody's talking about how much Molly, Andy's sister, like, loved her, and she kept the light on all night and all that kind of stuff. And then at the end, when, like, Polly Pocket's, like, talking, like, wow, Woody's blah, 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 she's kind of complaining about Woody, and then that's when Bo Peep really makes the turn, like, no, I love him for all those reasons, and we're going to go save him now. So you see that there's more going on there than just action Bo Peep.
Yeah, right. I guess what was Bo's like motivation, like as far as her future? Like I'm confused by it. Like was it maybe if her passion was to like liberate these other toys or really I guess save other toys and stuff like that, I could have seen that and got on board with it, but kind of felt like it was a mishmash between like I want to follow this carnival and just travel. Like it just really her and Woody's like, well, I want to be with Bo, so I guess I'll do the same thing, like there wasn't any I guess motivation behind it, like why she was wanting to do this over going to Bonnie, where even like Buzz and Jesse and all those people, like they were her friends too. And then she just kind of says to them like, hey guys, that's it. How are you? And then it's like, see ya. Like she doesn't want to be with her friends or anything. So it's kind of like her years, like she was either looking back on them maybe like negatively, or maybe she was just over it. Like, you know what? Like, they're my friends. But there wasn't like that when I see a friend, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see you. There's that excitement and stuff. And Bo was just like, hey, she's really, I don't know.
I'm going to need to definitely watch it again.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've got my initial impressions of it, and they're not the best, but I'll watch it again for sure. I've got
I agree.
kids, so
on
I'm
second
sure,
watch, I think I'll like it more.
Yeah. I've got kids, so I'm sure I'll see it 1,000 more times.
Maybe Forky will grow on you.
Maybe Forky will grow on me. Zach, you had mentioned favorite lines there. I wanted to mention my favorite joke in it was when they needed to get the key for the where Gabby Gabby was. And they're like, like all these movies, they would have this elaborate sequence where they would get the key from some drawer or something like this. And they're like, how are we going to get it? And the old lady just puts the key in the ashtray, like right in front of them.
Right in front of them.
And then they tell how'd you get it? Oh, it was very hard. And like, they just left it at that. I don't know. That was my favorite joke in the movie, but excellent. Well, should we do our counters, Zach?
Yes. So, Two Infinities and Beyonds, or Two Infinity and Beyonds, I should say. How many times do you guys think that was said in this movie? Jamie, we'll start with you.
Jamie, how many times?
I'm going to say like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2. I don't think it was many this time.
Okay, it was actually 4 times
my
in the
goodness.
movie. So first is in the montage at the beginning. We have adolescent Andy playing with him outside. He says, to infinity and beyond. He's got Buzz Lightyear. The second would be when Ducky is kicking him, and he's like, "To infinity and my foot." So that's the second time. And then when Buzz is being put away, the third time when he's being put away in the cabinet, right before he says that she forgot her backpack, his chest voice box says "To infinity and beyond." And then finally at the end of the film, we have the cut between Buzz and Woody saying "To infinity and beyond," the two of them. So that's 4 times in this movie. So that brings us to a grand total of 21 times it has been said in the Toy Story quadrilogy.
And now we're going to do our ratings. Jamie, we've been rating these out of 5 barrels of monkeys. What would you rate this film out of 5?
Okay, despite like all my criticism, I really did enjoy it. I would say like a personal 4, I would say.
4? Mm-hmm. Zach, how about you this time? You go first this time.
I have been going back and forth about this one. I had been with a 4 monkeys in a barrel, but this discussion has kind of made me reconsider and think I should maybe go 3.5 monkeys in a barrel, because I mean there was some stuff like I loved a lot. Don't get me wrong, I loved a lot of stuff in this movie. I did, but talking about it with y'all, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, there is a lot of stuff here that doesn't quite make sense or like settle in or lock in the way the other ones do. And it's like, is it just because it's not as good as the other ones, or is it just because there's some holes here? So I am going to settle with 3.5 out of 5 monkeys in a barrel. That's going to be my rating for Toy Story 4. What about you, Brandon?
Okay, so I like that you brought that up. Is this as good as the other ones? And, when we did our Godfather series, I gave Godfather 3 5 stars, right? I think that on its own, it's a 5-star film. Is it as good as 1? No. Is it as good as 2? No. But on its own, it's a great film. So I've been kind of thinking about that when it came to my rating for this movie. And, I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the previous ones, but honestly, I don't think it's that good of a movie on its own. And like you, Zach, I think I'm going to actually reduce my rating a bit. I gave it a 3. I think I'm going to drop it to a 2.5. I really didn't like this movie.
Just so you have some perspective here, Jamie, I'm usually the negative one. Brandon here loves everything.
Yeah.
So
I pretty much love everything, yes. I mean, I gave Godfather 3 5 stars. Like, I'm crazy.
Well, but we did talk a lot about the negative and not much of the positive too. Although I think the positive were kind of just more points. They weren't like, key story plots. So that
there was nothing overall positive. This is good. This was good. This was good.
Yeah.
And I think we take the positives for granted with these movies and say, okay, well, yeah, of course, all this stuff is good, but like it's that like 75% of it is going to be good, right? But what do they do with that last 25%, right? And didn't live up to the past, unfortunately.
You know what? I'm changing my rating on all these. These movies are garbage. Toys can't talk. 0. These movies are nonsense.
Oh boy! So our last question that we asked Jamie is: at this point in the franchise, here as we sit at the end of Toy Story 4, we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know. I love your take on it, that like this is just some cynical business decision to make spin-offs and sequels and TV shows. Do you think at this point this franchise is fatigued, the Toy Story franchise?
No, I don't. But they're gonna have to turn it around, or else it will be.
Okay, so this is the fork in the road, the Forky in the road, if you will.
It
for the
is
Toy Story
the
franchise.
Forky.
In the road.
Yes, yeah.
This is the Forky in the road, and they are rapidly jumping into that garbage can.
Oh, wow.
And I think they still have some space where they can go with like Sunnyside daycare and things like that. There's still some good storylines there. I don't know where they're going to go with Bo and Woody. That's going to be an interesting storyline. I suspect they're going to have to introduce like more toys and things like that. It's almost going to be, it's like a new franchise really with them, I feel like. We're going to see a new Woody really too, probably. And Bo's character grow and stuff. And, it might be more focused on like, the woman empowerment and stuff now that Bo's like found herself, and that's awesome. But it'll be interesting to see where they'll go with Bonnie's character, because it's definitely kind of starting to feel like, is this just going to be a repeat of the storyline with Andy? You know, we've seen this already. She grows out of them and she gives them away, right? But they have introduced a bunch of new characters, you know, like Trixie